At Monomeris Chemicals, we process plastic mixtures that currently cannot be recycled as materials. In other words, they would otherwise end up being incinerated or landfilled. You can think of plastic as being like a string of beads. It's made up of several molecules assembled in a long chain where each bead represents a molecule. And once this string of beads gets tangled up and so on, it becomes unusable. What we do is bring this string of beads into contact with our liquid catalyst. We cut it up and recover the beads so that we can sell a batch of clean beads, which can then be reassembled into a new string of beads. So chemically, we bring the plastic waste into contact with our catalysts, which are mineral salts that we convert into a liquid form. Once contact is made between the plastic and our liquid catalyst, the plastic will decompose on the one hand instantaneously and on the other hand selectively. Depending on the composition of our catalyst, we will obtain different output products.
At room temperature, a salt looks like this. And in the molten state, so when you heat it to a high temperature, you get the salt in liquid form, which looks like this. Its viscosity is very, very close to that of water. See, it really flows just like a regular liquid. Once these salts are in liquid form, we bring them into contact with plastic materials, with polymers, in order to depolymerize them. And now I'm going to put a small piece of polypropylene in contact with the salt mixture. And there you go. We have the generation of this gas. All the organic part will turn into gas, will depolymerize, and all the inorganic part will spread over the surface of our catalyst. We collect the gases. The inorganic part can also be recovered.
For the catalyst, we use mineral salts that are non-hazardous and non-toxic. These mineral salts are absolutely not consumables, meaning the volume is set and fixed in our machines. We integrate the catalyst into a reactor inside the machine, and then that reactor is designed and optimized for a specific waste stream. And here is the first Monomeris Chemicals unit. The first chemical recycling process in the form of a machine, the Melter 1, with various components that are shown here outside, but are actually integral parts of the machine. So first of all, we either receive the waste already shredded, in which case we send it directly into the hopper, or we receive the raw waste, and in that case we have to shred it beforehand. We pour it directly onto a conveyor that will carry it to a shredder. Once the plastic waste chips are smaller than 25 millimeters, they can go through the conveyor into the hopper and then be naturally injected into the reactor. Here we have the reactor's motor, which moves the waste along using a screw conveyor. All the waste falls into the reactor, which contains about 30 liters of catalyst. All the plastics will be transformed into gas. The gas will be drawn in by a compressor pump. The gases pass through different condensation tanks, which allow us to recover any chemical intermediates or monomers that are liquid at room temperature, such as styrene, benzene and toluene. And all the remaining gaseous part will pass directly through the pump and then be sent to various buffer tanks, sampling tanks and to other parts of the process. Once the gases have been drawn in by the pump, we analyze their composition. Depending on this composition, we can send the gases through a pre-purification stage, so that at the outlet of this purifier we obtain a clean gas that can be compressed, stored and liquefied in a tank in order to be delivered later to petrochemical clients. Once the gas has passed through the various process stages, it exits the container housing the equipment in order to supply an external tank, which can then be collected either by a truck or by rail cars. It's only the tank here that isn't scaled down, since it's an actual tanker truck that comes to collect the gas. So we sell exactly this container, in which the entire process is integrated, which is delivered directly to the client, plug and play, in order to maximize the value of our client's plastic waste residues. We have truly designed the first chemical recycling machine for waste. You can purchase a Monomeris machine that can be plugged into existing facilities or installed at a newly created site in order to specifically recycle everything that cannot be processed by other methods and achieve a material recovery rate of up to 100%.